The FIA is considering a major race ban for Pierre Gasly before the 2023 season even begins. Let's take a look into the situation and its implications for the French driver. With the FIA's strict rule that any driver who accumulates 12 penalty points must sit out the next race, AlphaTauri's Pierre Gasly found himself on the verge of missing a Grand Prix after amassing 10 points. And because he was so close to committing an unintentional rule violation with just 2 extra points, there was even talk that he could earn himself a deliberate sanction to get the ban over with and avoid the points hanging over him in 2023 on his switch to Alpine. The penalty point system was first implemented in F1 to better manage consistently poor driving standards. Only extreme incidents such as Romain Grosjean's crash at Belgian Grand Prix in 2012 and Mika Häkkinen's first corner hijinks at the 1994 German Grand Prix had previously prompted FIA intervention. But the tally had become too much for Gasly, who, while no single incident took out as particularly bad, discovered that a string of minor incidents had left him on the verge of a race ban. Gasly received his first penalty points of 2022 when he collided with Lance Stroll during the race in Barcelona. This earned him 2 penalty points for being wholly at fault, despite the fact that the stewards admitted Gasly likely understeered into Aston Martin due to the lack of grip. Gasly's penalty point total was now 4, with 2 points carried over from 2021. 5 races later in Austria, Gasly collided with another Aston Martin, this time with Stroll's teammate Sebastian Vettel. Gasly was again found to be wholly at fault for colliding with Vettel while attempting to overtake him around the outside of turn 4. Gasly was assessed 2 additional penalty points, bringing his total to 6. Gasly was even given 1 extra penalty point in the same race for a time penalty he received for exceeding track limits 4 times during the race. This brought him to 7 points in the previous 12 months, more than halfway to a ban. In heavy rain at Suzuka, Gasly started from the pit lane where Carlos Sainz Jr. crashed. He collected an advertising board on his car that had been knocked off the barriers after catching the field. As he passed the crash scene at the end of the lap under safety car, Gasly attempted to catch the field before the race was red flagged. Gasly, enraged at not being warned about the recovery vehicle, hit 250 km/h down the long back straight despite the red flag conditions. He received 2 more penalty points, bringing his total active to 9. Gasly's penalty points for colliding with Fernando Alonso at the start of 2021's Turkish Grand Prix expired after Japan, reducing his total to 7 now. However, Gasly was called in front of the stewards again the following race in the United States after failing more than 10 car lengths behind Vettel under safety car. He was assessed 2 penalty points for this, bringing his total back up to 9. Finally, during the Mexican Grand Prix, Gasly was given a time penalty for passing Stroll off the track at turn 4, with all 4 wheels going outside of the white line that defined track limits. Gasly failed to return the position and was given a 5-second time penalty in the race as well as 1 additional penalty point, bringing his total to the current level of 10, just 2 points away from a race ban. In the end, 4 of Gasly's 10 points were for colliding with another car, 2 for driving too fast under red flag conditions, 2 for a safety car violation, and 2 for track limits violation. Interestingly, 6 of his 10 penalty points were either directly or indirectly related to Aston Martin drivers. But with Gasly now only 2 points and most likely 1 offence away from a race ban, is his behaviour this season deserving of his precarious position? Let's take a look. First off, every driver is aware that they have a maximum of 12 penalty points before receiving a 1-round suspension. Gasly has spent his entire F1 career racing under the super licensed penalty point system, and he can only blame himself for this current situation. Gasly appears to be racking up super licensed points with avoidable incidents, including simple matters like falling behind under safety car. The penalty point system has been in place for nearly 9 full seasons. If Gasly accumulates 12 points while his competitors successfully avoid doing so, he clearly deserves a race ban. On the other hand, with F1's calendars getting longer and longer, the 12-point threshold is even stricter in 2022 and 2023 than it was when it first introduced in 2014. There are only 19 rounds in a season back then, but there were 22 last year and 23 in 2023. This increases the likelihood that drivers will accumulate more points over the course of the year. Gasly is also not a reckless or dangerous driver by nature. Despite their crashes this year, Stroll has not accused Gasly of being dangerous or unable to control his car in a safe manner, with his 2 collisions being the result of misjudgments rather than dangerous dive bombs or overly aggressive moves. Furthermore, a strong case can be made that receiving penalty points for incidents such as being too far back under safety car is excessive. Many in the paddock agree with this, including Pierre Gasly, who commented last year on the issue and stated that he wants to discuss the way penalty points are distributed within the FIA. I've been discussing quite a lot with the FIA to try and find solutions because the way the regulations are written at the moment is quite strict on the drivers, he said. There are quite harsh penalties even though it is not always related to dangerous driving, and definitely penalties have a massive reflection on the team and the Drivers' Championship. I hope we're going to have more conversations and can find a solution this weekend to avoid ending up in a silly situation where I'll be banned for a race, and that will be terrible for myself. It is not the way I saw F1 growing up, and I don't think it's got a correct approach, because I can't really go into next year only 2 points off a ban and that risk hanging over my head. Gasly also admitted that being on the verge of an FIA race ban was somewhat embarrassing. I'm not going to lie, it is a very unpleasant situation and quite delicate. In some ways, it is also quite embarrassing to be in a situation where I could be banned for a race after the season I have done. I don't really feel I've been particularly dangerous over the past 12 months. It would definitely be a harsh penalty if there had been a lot of discussion with the FIA to try and find a solution going forward. I want to finish the season in the best way with AlphaTauri, and I want to do all the races in 2023 and get the maximum chances to perform for Alpine. There's also a lot at stake because no one knows what is going to happen in 2023. I could end up with an amazing car, fighting for the championship for example, and I can't take the risk to be banned for a race and lose all my hopes for the championship. It is a very tricky situation. Nonetheless, the penalty point system should be used to punish drivers for dangerous, reckless or otherwise careless driving. Formula 1 competition is tight and intense. Accidents will occur. However, causing a collision due to recklessness and causing a collision due to an error should be judged differently, with penalty points reflecting the nuances and complexities of each individual incident. Despite Gasly's understandable outrage over the crane incident in Suzuka, it is difficult to justify his speeding after passing the crash site. And while points can be justified for the collisions he's caused and his speeding under red flags, it's easy to sympathise with drivers who argue that points should not be awarded for exceeding track limits in a race when they receive sporting penalties in the race. If 3 points were deducted for exceeding track limits and falling back under safety car, Gasly would have 7 penalty points, which seems like a more accurate reflection of his behaviour this season. When comparing Gasly's on-track behaviour to that of some Formula 2 drivers who have been banned, the idea that Gasly could soon become the first F1 driver to join such a club just does not sit right. But what are your opinions? Was Pierre Gasly a particularly dangerous driver in the 2022 season? Please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video about potential race bans, you're going to want to watch the next video on screen now.